Episode 137 is just around the corner. So get comfortable, give it a like, and let's go watch how things suddenly got even more serious again. Wang Lin returned to Planet Qianhuan once again, and the moment he arrived, he realized Liu Mei had already come to face him herself. He immediately clashed with her, but what he learned next was something he never could have expected. She had given birth to his son, but Liu Mei had already turned the child into an infant of resentment. And the instant Wang Lin saw that, his fury exploded. He made up his mind right there, and then to kill her. But just as he was about to end her with his own hands, the old ancestor of the Huan Clan stepped in. Huan Wuqing, a cultivator at the Nirvana Scryer stage, shattered the sword through the void with a single blow. He forcefully pulled Liu Mei out of the battle and took her back to Planet Qianhuan. That one act of salvation dragged the entire planet of Qianhuan into the hell of Wang Lin's revenge. Huan Wuqing made two fatal mistakes, and both of them would cost him dearly. First, he underestimated just how far Wang Lin was willing to go for revenge. Second, he overestimated the value of his own strength. He believed a second-step cultivator could completely suppress anyone from the first step. He was certain the Huan clan's defensive formation could not be broken, and he also believed his plan involving Liu Mei was flawless. He had even taken her in as a concubine, intending to use her as a furnace for his own breakthrough. But what he didn't realize was that from the very moment he chose to protect Liu Mei with his own hands, his fate was already sealed. From that instant on, he became someone Wang Lin absolutely had to kill. The moment Huan Wuqing took Liu Mei away, Wang Lin condensed a powerful strand of sword qi. He struck it directly into the spatial vortex where Liu Mei had vanished, and that sword qi immediately shot after her. It pierced deep into the vortex and chased straight after the Huan ancestor who had taken her away. Huan Wuqing had acted from afar, sending only his origin soul through the starry void. From the very beginning, he had never taken Wang Lin seriously. In his eyes, Wang Lin was nothing more than a junior. The moment he appeared, he had already launched an attack, intending to kill Wang Lin immediately. But that strike only lightly wounded him and failed to take his life, which had already surprised the old man. Then he saw the heaven-defying puppet by Wang Lin's side, a puppet at void level, and he instantly became cautious. At that moment, his spirit was outside his body, his state was weakened, and his strength had already dropped to that same level. If he really fought the puppet head-on, he would end up badly injured himself. On top of that, Wang Lin's origin soul felt strange and dangerous, so the old man only left behind a threat and withdrew. He hurriedly took Liu Mei away and retreated at once, unwilling to drag the confrontation out any longer. Liu Mei was a carefully cultivated piece in his plans, and he couldn't allow her to die before she reached the second step. But he never imagined that at that very moment, Wang Lin would unleash that sword qi in pursuit. At first, he didn't pay much attention to it. But that sword qi instantly shattered the star transfer vortex. And even after doing that, its power did not weaken at all. It kept flying straight toward his origin soul. The moment he sensed the terrifying aura of a Nirvana cultivator coming from that sword, the old man immediately realized the danger. He pushed his spirit to its limit, dragging Liu Mei all the way back to his secret chamber. The instant his spirit returned to his body, he struck out and destroyed the spatial passage, hoping to trap the sword qi inside the void. But the moment the vortex broke apart, he didn't even have time to breathe before the sword qi burst out. With a single strike, it blew the entire secret chamber apart, and the deafening explosion shook all of Planet Qianhuan. The Huan ancestor grabbed Liu Mei and rushed outside in complete disorder, trying to escape. In the end, he had no choice but to grit his teeth and take the attack head-on himself to stop the pursuing sword qi. But even after the collision, the sword qi still pierced into his body, leaving him seriously wounded on the spot. His face turned pale, and only then did he remember Wang Lin's words about exterminating the entire clan. Before this, he had thought those were just empty threats. But now, he finally understood that Wang Lin was fully capable of doing exactly what he had promised. With sword qi of that level in his hands, Wang Lin truly could wipe out the entire Huan clan. A cold fear rose in the old man's heart, and he couldn't help wondering how many more attacks like that Wang Lin still had. What scared him even more was the person who had given Wang Lin that sword Qi in the first place. He realized that Wang Lin's connection to that great senior was definitely not ordinary. He knew better than anyone that in the second step, the gap between every realm was like the gap between worlds. At that level, it was no longer possible to leap across stages the way some geniuses could in the first step. The distance between Nirvana Scryer and Neve Nirvana was simply too vast to overcome. For a brief moment, the old man even considered handing Liu Mei over to avoid disaster. But then he remembered that Wang Lin had come from the Cultivation Alliance star region. Even if a Neve Nirvana master really stood behind him, without the Luo Tian stone, that person likely wouldn't be able to come here. And if things truly got out of hand, perhaps the Thunder Celestial Palace might intervene. More importantly, if he could devour Liu Mei, his own cultivation might rise directly to the Neve Nirvana stage. Once he thought of that, he completely gave up the idea of handing her over to Wang Lin. He immediately spread out his divine sense and called for help from the other major clans of Planet Qianhuan. At the same time, he ordered all members of the Huan Clan to return to the main residence immediately. Then, without delay, he activated the clan's great defensive formation. Meanwhile, back on Planet Qianhuan, Wang Lin stared at the spatial vortex that had already disappeared. Then he turned toward the cluster of black mist surrounded by the heaven-defying puppet. From inside that mist came the cry of a child, filled with innocence and a deep, terrifying resentment toward the world. And within the mist, a pair of murky eyes stared straight at Wang Lin with a deathly grip. He recognized that creature as his own child, and Wang Lin's heart tightened painfully. He slowly stepped closer, and the cold severity in his eyes gradually softened. After a brief pause, he reached his right hand directly into the black mist without any protection. The child instantly bit down on his finger, and icy resentment flowed into his body through the wound. But Wang Lin didn't pull his hand back. He simply looked at his son in silence. Then he decided to give the child the name Wang Ping, wishing him a quiet and peaceful life. Looking at the child inside the black mist, Wang Lin let out a quiet sigh and said nothing. That icy resentment entering his body could not harm him in the slightest. With a single sweep of the lightning in his origin soul, he could have destroyed it instantly. After a moment of silence, he formed a seal with his left hand and released countless restrictions. He firmly sealed the black mist, then placed the child into the space of the heaven-defying bead. After that, he separated a thread of his origin soul and began slowly dispersing the resentment inside his son's body. In his heart, he had already decided that once he finished dealing with everything urgent, he would enter seclusion for the child's sake. When that time came, he would fully restore him and give him back a normal life. Then Wang Lin turned his gaze toward the distant city and told Sun Shi to come out of hiding. Sun Shi cautiously flew out, still unable to recover from everything she had just witnessed. What had happened completely shook her and destroyed the confidence she used to have. Now, when she faced Wang Lin, all that remained in her heart was awe, fear, and deep respect. She admitted on her own that she and two others had hidden the existence of the avatars from him. Their plan had been to drag Wang Lin into a messy situation and turn him into a convenient scapegoat. But Wang Lin cut her off and immediately asked what had happened to the other two, and whether they were even still alive. Sun Shi hurriedly answered, trying not to provoke even more of his displeasure. The avatar of the old ancestor of the Huan Clan had left Planet Qianhuan several hundred years ago. No one knew where he was now, but he was most likely still safe. As for Zhao Chuanwen, he didn't know how to create a true avatar. However, he possessed a divine ability that allowed him to split his origin soul, so he had also managed to leave. That meant Planet Qianhuan was most likely no longer threatened by those two. Wang Lin fell silent for a moment as he thought over what he had heard, then finally spoke. Since he had accepted their immortal jades, he would fulfill his obligation and keep his word to the very end. He would ensure 100 years of peace for the descendants of the three clans and make sure their bloodlines would not be cut off. Hearing that, Sun Shi felt deeply grateful, but she was still worried about how the Huan clan would respond. Wang Lin raised his head toward the sky, as if his gaze had already pierced through the distant starry void. It was as though his eyes had already reached Planet Qianhuan, and he spoke without the slightest hesitation. The Huan clan would no longer exist. That was not empty bravado. It was a decision he had already made. He wasn't saying it out of pride. To kill Liu Mei, he was ready to sweep away anyone who stood in his path. From this moment on, anyone who blocked him would become his target. Hearing the dense killing intent hidden in his voice, Sun Shi lowered her head in fear. She no longer dared to even raise her eyes, much less meet his gaze. Wang Lin told her that he could help restore her cultivation to the late nascent soul stage. But beyond that, above the soul transformation stage, she would have to rely on her own strength to advance. However, Sun Shi honestly admitted that she was not prepared to go through the deadly trial of the path's peak again. She no longer had the courage to gamble her life for another breakthrough. So Wang Lin offered her another route, one far more direct, but with a brutal price. Using an 8th grade pill, he could raise her straight to the middle stage of soul transformation. But the price of that leap would be that her cultivation would remain frozen there forever. Even so, Sun Shi didn't hesitate for even a moment and chose that path immediately. Right after that, Wang Lin used the divine ability, Tao transforming into yellow springs. He summoned spiritual energy from the shattered underground veins and immersed Sun Shi in the yellow springs. Then he took out an 8th grade pill and dissolved its power directly into the current of the yellow springs. 3 days passed, and Sun Shi truly recovered to the middle stage of soul transformation. Shaken by this, she bowed deeply to Wang Lin and thanked him for giving her a new life. But Wang Lin calmly replied that he was only fulfilling the obligation he had taken upon himself. He told Sun Shi to settle the descendants of the 3 clans in a safe place and wait for him there. As for himself, he stepped onto the star compass and headed straight toward Planet Qianhuan without delay. As he flew through the starry void, Wang Lin kept calculating the strength of the Huan Clan in his mind. He knew this clan had ruled the planet for many years and had built deep roots there. But second-step cultivators were incredibly rare, so the Huan Clan most likely had only one. Still, if the old ancestor was determined to protect Liu Mei at all costs, then outside support would surely come. At the same time, on Planet Qianhuan, the old ancestor of the Huan Clan had already gathered all the direct descendants. He ordered the defensive formation to be activated and sent strong cultivators out to bring back those who had fallen behind. There were 3 major cultivation clans on all of Planet Qianhuan, and the strongest among them was the Chin Clan. They had 3 second-step cultivators, which placed them above the others in power. The Huan Clan ranked second, with only 1 second-step cultivator, their old ancestor. But they had maintained that standing thanks to an immortal treasure and the legacy of the Thunder Immortal realm. As for the Su clan, they were considered the most mysterious and were tied to the famous planet Donglin of Luotian. They were extremely cautious and almost never got involved in the conflicts of others. The 3rd ancestor of the Chin clan, Chin Quezy, had been friends with the old ancestor of the Huan clan since they were young. This time, he came to help on the surface out of friendship, but in truth, he expected to gain something in return. He knew very well that Huan Wuqing had always been stingy, so if he was being this generous today, then something was clearly off. That was why Chin Quezy decided to first observe the enemy before deciding whether to fight. He had already made up his mind that if the opponent could be suppressed, he would help without hesitation. But if the matter turned out to be too dangerous, he would leave at once and never risk his own life. So Chin Quezy sat in the starry void outside Planet Qianhuan and waited. Several days passed, and suddenly, a silver ray tore across the sky above the distant stars. Wang Lin stood atop the star compass with an icy expression, while thick, killing intent swirled around him. He was rapidly approaching Planet Qianhuan, making no effort at all to hide why he had come. Chin Quezy opened his eyes and shouted for Wang Lin to stop right there. One glance was enough for Wang Lin to realize the man before him was Ein Void Cultivator. Inwardly, he immediately noted that just as he had expected, someone had indeed come to block his path. Chin Quezy then spoke arrogantly and demanded to know the purpose of his visit. When he learned that Wang Lin had come specifically for the Huan Clan, he immediately scolded him for being reckless. He even demanded that Wang Lin state the names of the elders in his family and promised to spare his life if he did. Chin Quezy carefully looked Wang Lin over and decided there was nothing special about him. In his eyes, the young man's strength was ordinary, and there was nothing truly dangerous about him. But the instant his eyes fell on the heaven-defying puppet beneath Wang Lin's feet, he froze. A fierce greed flared up in his heart at once, strong and almost impossible to control. He had never seen any clan hand down such a puppet to a junior. This was a real Void-level cultivator turned into an obedient weapon. In that moment, he felt as if heaven itself had dropped an unbelievable fortune right in front of him. Wang Lin tried to reason with him and told him not to interfere in his personal grudge with the Huan Clan. But greed had already completely smothered Chin Quezy's reason, and he demanded that Wang Lin hand over the puppet. He declared that otherwise he would show no mercy and would not let Wang Lin go any farther. An even colder chill flashed through Wang Lin's eyes, and without saying a word, he gave the order to attack. The heaven-defying puppet stepped forward and tore cracks through the starry sky with both hands. Chin Quezy didn't even move from where he sat cross-legged. He formed a seal and spat out countless runes, sending them forward in a torrent toward the puppet. The heaven-defying puppet shot ahead with terrifying speed and threw a single punch. An enormous number of runes were shattered instantly, and Chin Quezy's face lit up with delight. Once he confirmed the puppet's strength, he wanted it even more desperately. He quickly changed his spell, and all of those runes instantly turned into a raging sea of thunder. That thunder crashed down on the puppet like the sky itself was collapsing in one endless storm. And at that exact moment, Wang Lin released his Thunder Beast. The Thunder Beast let out a roar, and all of that thunder instantly burst free from the runes. Then the beast swallowed every last bolt of lightning in a single gulp. Chin Quezy's expression changed completely. He jumped to his feet and stared at the beast with wide eyes. At that moment, the fear in his heart reached such a level that a chill ran straight down his spine. In the Luo Tian Star region, the Thunder Beast was an unmistakable symbol of the envoys of the Thunder Celestial Palace. Everyone recognized that fact, and no one would ever dare challenge it. Only then did Chin Quezy understand where Wang Lin's sword chi and terrifying puppet had come from. It turned out that the force backing him was most likely the Thunder Celestial Palace itself. He immediately withdrew all his divine abilities, and his face turned deathly pale. Then he hurriedly apologized to Wang Lin and said this had all been a misunderstanding. Deep inside, cold fear pierced through him, because he had just offended people connected to that palace. To him, that was nearly the same as certain death. Chin Quezy immediately assured Wang Lin that the Chin clan would absolutely not get involved in this matter. He promised to sever all ties with the Huan clan at once and never interfere again. Wang Lin's expression didn't change at all. He calmly demanded immortal jades from him. Chin Quezy felt as if his heart were bleeding, but he didn't dare show even the slightest trace of disobedience. He quickly took out a storage bag and threw it to Wang Lin, then immediately turned around and flew away. After returning to Planet Qianhuan, he instantly spread his divine sense over the entire Huan clan. Burning with rage, he sent out a thought and cursed Huan Wuqing for his treachery. He accused him of deliberately pushing him into a conflict with people from the Thunder Celestial Palace. The old ancestor of the Huan clan frowned and tried to explain that Wang Lin, just like Liu Mei, had come from the Cultivation Alliance Star region and had no connection to that palace at all. But Chin Quezy didn't believe a single word and only became even angrier at those excuses. In his mind, even now, Huan Wuqing was still hiding the truth from him. He angrily demanded to know whether the old man hadn't seen the Thunder Beast with his own eyes. After all, everyone knew that such beasts could belong only to the Thunder Celestial Palace. When Wang Lin heard those words about the Thunder Celestial Palace, he glanced thoughtfully at the beast beside him. Then he took a step forward and entered the bounds of Planet Qianhuan directly. He put away the star compass, passed through the hurricane winds, and swept out his divine sense. In a single instant, he found the southern region and shot toward it like a falling star. In the south of Planet Qianhuan, at the old residence of the Huan clan, Huan Wuqing stood silently in the courtyard. With his hands behind his back, he stared grimly into the sky, waiting for the unavoidable clash. Behind him stood the direct descendants of the clan, and every face was heavy. Even though no one said anything aloud, the suppressed dissatisfaction in their eyes was already obvious. Liu Mei stood nearby as well, quietly looking into the distance while hiding her thoughts. and many members of the clan still hadn't made it back, remaining scattered in homes across the land. Huan Wuqing asked Liu Mei once again whether Wang Lin, like her, had truly come from the Cultivation Alliance. Liu Mei only gave a faint nod and still didn't say a single word. That only confused the old man even more, because there was one thing he simply couldn't understand. How could a cultivator from the Cultivation Alliance star region possibly possess a thunder beast? At that very moment, heavy thunder began rolling one strike after another across the distant sky. Then a falling star burst out from the horizon, and it was Wang Lin. Beside him followed the thunder beast, its entire body covered in dancing arcs of electricity. Its savage eyes were locked onto the Huan clan below like prey that had already been sentenced to death. When the starlight faded, Wang Lin stepped forward and stopped above the Huan clan's defensive formation. His icy voice rolled across the entire residence as he demanded that Liu Mei be handed over immediately. A complicated emotion flickered through Liu Mei's eyes, but she only turned away and didn't dare look at him. Huan Wuqing let out a cold snort and mocked Wang Lin for overestimating himself. He told Wang Lin to first break the Huan clan's defensive formation and only then speak about handing over Liu Mei. Wang Lin's face remained calm, and he simply patted the thunder beast on the head. The beast instantly raised its head toward the sky and let out a monstrous roar that made the heavens tremble. In an instant, dark clouds covered the sky, and countless bolts of lightning began racing through them. Strike after strike, the lightning slammed endlessly into the Huan clan's defensive formation, never giving it a moment to recover. The surface of the formation rippled with waves of light as it continuously absorbed the falling thunder. Seeing this, Wang Lin bit his fingertip and let a drop of blood fall onto the thunder beast's forehead. With that one drop, he released part of the seal, suppressing the beast's true power. A far more terrifying force of lightning immediately erupted from the beast's body, like a storm of heavenly thunder. It drew in the clouds above and turned them into a massive net of lightning over the entire residence. Dragging that storm behind it, the thunder beast slammed violently into the defensive formation. A deafening crash spread across all of Planet Qianhuan, and the barrier of light sank deeply inward. Only then did the members of the Huan clan fully realize what that thunder beast really was. Their faces turned pale, and many of them began openly begging Huan Wuqing to stop. They pleaded with him not to destroy the entire Huan clan for the sake of an outsider, and not to bring ruin down on all of them. At that moment, the resentment long buried within the direct bloodline finally burst out. Huan Wuqing roared angrily and forced everyone into silence, but it was already too late. The defensive formation clearly couldn't hold much longer under that double assault. In the next moment, the Heaven-defying puppet stepped into the void and began raining down blows on the formation. Its fists fell like a storm, while the thunder beast intensified its assault from the other side at the same time. Under that double pressure, the light of the formation grew dimmer and dimmer every second. It had already reached the very edge of collapse and could shatter at any moment. Then the Huan clan leader, Huan Fengshan, stepped forward and bluntly asked a direct question. Was it really worth gambling the future of the entire clan for Huan Wuqing's personal desires? He openly declared that if the formation fell, he would take his people and leave instead of fighting. He had no intention of joining a battle where the entire clan could die over one man's obsession. And at that exact moment, with the formation barely holding on, Wang Lin drew the immortal sword. He fused together his life force and origin soul, then unleashed the Luo slice art. From the outside, the attack looked almost simple, but hidden within it was the power of laws, a force capable of tearing the sky itself apart. At that instant, the entire world seemed to lose all sound. Everything froze before the descent of that sword. Huan Wuqing was struck speechless with shock and immediately recognized the power of the second step within it. This was the very power of laws that second step cultivators spent their entire lives pursuing and could never reach easily. Even Chin Quezy, along with the old man from the Su clan who had been secretly observing the whole time, were deeply shaken. All of them could clearly see that this strike contained something beyond ordinary limits. When the sword fell, the Huan clan's defensive formation, long believed to be indestructible, collapsed instantly. It didn't even need a direct collision. It simply fell apart on its own. Wang Lin's face turned pale from the heavy drain of life force, but his gaze only grew more terrifying. His killing intent tightened even further around the Huan clan members standing behind the shattered formation. Huan Wuqing had finally been cornered and could only rely on the clan's final trump card. Gritting his teeth, he brought out their greatest treasure, the Jade Tablet of the Ancestor's Grace. Within that Jade Tablet was the power of the Huan clan's ancestor from the Thunder Immortal realm. For years, it had been the true foundation behind the clan's position. The Jade Tablet transformed into a phantom image of an immortal surrounded by boundless immortal power. In a single instant, it drew in spiritual energy from thousands of li around and created a world of its own. But just as Huan Wuqing was about to command that immortal image to attack Wang Lin, Huan Fengshan stepped forward once more, together with all the direct descendants, and openly declared the clan's position. He announced that this was a personal grudge between Huan Wuqing and Wang Lin, not a matter involving the entire Huan clan. All the direct descendants immediately stated that they refused to take part in this deadly battle. More than that, they even cupped their fists toward Wang Lin, clearly drawing a line between themselves and Huan Wuqing. Seeing his own people turn away from him, Huan Wuqing cursed furiously. After that, he didn't hesitate any longer and immediately sent the immortal image against Wang Lin. Faced with a power comparable to the Neve Nirvana stage, Wang Lin showed not the slightest trace of panic. If he had come alone to Planet Qianhuan, then it meant he had long prepared his greatest trump card. He slowly closed his eyes and called into the depths of his own origin soul. Promising to return his freedom after the battle, he awakened the ancient scattered demon that had been sealed for many years. In the next instant, a piercing howl shot into the sky, and monstrous demonic energy flooded the world. That demonic force stood opposite the immortal image as if the two were equals. Above Wang Lin's head, thick black flames rose, and from them emerged the one-legged scattered demon. An instant later, Huan Wuqing's face turned white as paper for the first time, drained of all blood. Even Chin Quezy shuddered in terror, and for the first time, even the old man from the Su clan lost his composure. At a single glance, he recognized the creature as a scattered demon that had once served under an ancient demon. That being had already made a deal with Wang Lin. It would help him in this battle, and afterward, it would regain its freedom. The moment that agreement was spoken, the scattered demon turned into dense mist and merged into Wang Lin's body. After that, Wang Lin stepped directly forward to face the approaching immortal image. With a single motion of its hand, the immortal image transformed the spiritual energy of the entire planet into immortal power. From that power, it gathered an attack capable of destroying heaven and earth, leaving nothing behind. But the scattered demon showed no fear at all. It simply spoke an incantation in the language of the ancient clan. The two monstrous forces, both capable of destroying the world, collided with an earth-shaking roar. That impact spread across all of Planet Qianhuan. The earth trembled, and the spiritual veins began to dry up. Nearly a third of their power was destroyed on the spot, and the immortal image shattered into pieces in the very same moment. The Jade Tablet of the Ancestor's Grace also crumbled into ash, unable to withstand that collision. After it was gone, only a thin curtain of immortal force remained, barely shielding Huan Wuqing and the others.